In this video, I am going to speak about the people that have influenced me. Yay! The first person I really want to talk about that has influenced me, I'd say this is the person that's influenced me the most in life. So the first person I'm going to speak about today is my yaya. She's the kindest, most considerate person in the whole entire world. She originally comes from the Troodos Mountains in Cyprus, and the little villages in the Troodos Mountains tend to be quite traditional, so very family orientated. My yaya is like a typical Greek mother and grandmother. She really, really is. She's the most selfless person I know, and I can say that hand on heart. The most selfless person in the whole entire world that I've come across in my whole entire life. If you were to come to my house, you'd walk through the door and straight away she would offer you her seat on the couch if she was sitting there. She'd offer you a drink or some food, and she'd actually just sit there and listen to you speak for hours. She'll offer you food, some drink, she'll just want you to feel comfortable, and she'll go out of her way just to make sure you're comfortable. And she's just, you know, she'll sit there for hours and she'll just listen to you, and she'll just speak to you, and she's just, you don't really get many people like that anymore. My yaya just loves people. She's taught me so much in life. She's actually more of a mother to me than my own mother. Any good people skills that I've acquired over the years have been thanks to her. Unfortunately for my yaya, she suffers from manic depression and schizophrenia, and she's on medication for both of them. But she still, of course, suffers from a lot of the symptoms. Like sometimes she'll be over cleaning, or she'll be sitting there staring into space, or I'll walk downstairs and she'll have her head in her hands, and you know, she doesn't really suffer from the schizophrenia as much anymore. Like she doesn't really hear voices anymore or anything like that. The symptoms from the bipolar still creep up on her every now and then. Unfortunately, she had a breakdown in her 30s, and because of this, that's why all of this happened, unfortunately. Not to say too much on camera, but a certain member of my family has a gambling addiction, and because of this, it stressed her out to like oblivion and back. I find a lot of the time she won't actually stop to relax, and she doesn't take a lot of time out of the day for herself, so if I do catch her sat there, I always make sure I'm sat with her and I'm talking to her and spending as much time with her as possible. To me, my yaya is actually Wonder Woman. She's the kind of person that doesn't want any help off anyone, and she's determined to do everything on her own accord. It's just funny really, because like, I woke up once and I went into the back garden and there she was. It's like she's not exactly, you know, young, she's quite old, but she's quite muscly at the same time, and there she was minding her own business, full on cleaning the garden, like lawn mowing and pulling all the roots out and doing manly jobs that you wouldn't really expect a 67-year-old woman to be doing. While my granddad was just kind of sat there, sunglasses on, sunbathing. And that's the kind of household this is. Normally, the man will change the light bulb. Nope, she does it. She'll change the light bulb. Even if Bapu tries to change the light bulb, nope, Yaya's doing it. But when she's having a down day or I'm having a down day, it's really good because we understand each other on a completely different level. She helps me and I can help her. It's like I completely relate to her in every shape and form. Because we're so similar on that mental level as well, apart from the fact that obviously she has it a lot worse than me. Like my Yaya's form of mental health is a lot worse than me, but I still relate to her so much, and I find that we help each other a lot. It's actually brought us really, really close, which is really nice. If I was to bring all of my subscribers to our little house, she would not ignore one of you. Seriously, it's like, what, 11,000 of you now or something daft? She would not ignore one of you. She would get round to each and every one of you and greet you. All of these factors, plus many, many more, is why she's the most inspirational person in my life. She's just the kindest, most beautiful, inside and out person in the whole entire world to me. And I can honestly say to you all right now, I get teary-eyed thinking about the day that she's not going to be there, you know, anymore. But that's how much she means to me. I really do love that woman with all my heart. And if I had to pick one person to live life for ever and ever and ever and ever and a day, without any harm coming to her or any illness, and I could give her all the money in the world, it would be my yaya, because she honestly deserves it. She really does. So yeah, that's enough of the soppy stuff. Whew, my camera just cut out completely and it's really annoyed me. I had to go and charge it and come back. So here I am again, guys, even though this will just look like I, you know, edited the video, so I just, you know, the camera angle changed and everything. But in case any of you are wondering why the camera angle has just changed dramatically and the lighting has, that's because I had to recharge my camera. Yeah. It's also not as warm now, so I've put my jacket back on. Yay! Yay for jackets. So the second most inspirational person to me is, of course, my father. The list goes on forever and ever and a day, but I'll just pick certain things that he's taught me and yada yada. He's taught me to respect myself and my body, and I think respecting yourself and respecting the people around you is incredibly important. And I believe to respect another human being, you need to be able to respect yourself. And I feel as though to trust another human being, you need to be able to trust yourself. My dad also taught me the importance of being faithful to your partner and to be honest with the people that are around you. My dad taught me how important it is to be honest with everybody, and honesty is a very, very, very important thing, I think. I'm sorry if I'm looking down a lot, by the way, because I find that when I'm deep in thought, I just tend to look down. So yeah, I'm sorry about that. So the little lens that's there, I always end up looking into it. I'm bad, guys. I just fail on every single level. God! My dad once said to me that you should always think with your own brain and feelings, not someone else's. My dad told me that you should never ever go through life being in someone else's shadow, if that makes any sense. I really hope all of this stuff that I'm saying to you guys is making sense, because this is quite a fluttery video, because I'm just generally very scatterbrained, as I heard a few people call me on a forum somewhere. But that's the way I am. That's the way I am. My dad is also the reason that I'm into rock and punk music. He brought me up around it, and thanks to him, that's another, you know, attribute of my personality that he kind of created, and it's grown over the years. So yeah, since we've been speaking about my dad, I thought it would be a perfect time to talk about another inspiration of mine. Bon Scott from AC/DC. Seriously. I can't even explain how much Bon Scott means to me. I would give anything in the world to see Bon Scott live. Anything, seriously, like anything!
My hair is messed today. Yeah, it's so flat. Oh dear.
Oh dear. Unfortunately for me and millions of other people, Bon Scott died on the 19th of February in 1980. So way before I was born, and weirdly on my mum's birthday, because my mum's birthday is the 19th of February. Bon Scott is one of my idols for many reasons. As a lot of you will know, I'm a massive AC/DC fan. My personal opinion is the real AC/DC to me is AC/DC with Bon Scott, not without Bon Scott. I love Hell's Bells, it's an amazing album, it really is, but for me, no album with Brian Johnson could ever compare. It's like Hell's Bells is my favourite album with Brian Johnson, but my favourite AC/DC albums are the albums with Bon Scott. Brian Johnson is an amazing vocalist, I'm not saying he's not, I just don't think that he could ever be anywhere near as amazing as Bon Scott. Personal preference, I'm not a hater of Brian Johnson, my favourite is just Bon Scott. So I hope that's out of the way, I've not offended anyone. I don't think anything can compare to the carefree, jokey energy and the stage presence that Bon Scott had with AC/DC. It's like the way that him and Angus bounce off each other was just really inspiring for me, and it always has been, and it still is to this very day. But it's really weird because, like, I know this is gonna sound really, really crazy and everyone's gonna think I'm a massive weirdo on many levels. People are just gonna think I'm really strange for this, but I feel like I know Bon Scott, and everybody always turns around to me and they're like, Jess, what are you chatting? You're chatting absolute bollocks. But I just feel as though I know him. I know that sounds really strange and I can't believe I'm telling YouTube this, but I feel like I know him, and when I think about the fact that he's dead, it actually genuinely upsets me. I just get this horrible sinking feeling in my gut. It's just really, really odd. Really odd indeed. Bon Scott is my dad's favourite singer, so I heard a lot of Bon Scott's voice during my childhood, so this is probably one of the main reasons that I feel this way. That's probably one of the reasons why I'm so attached to him and to that aspect and to that time in AC/DC's, you know, shills on my frizzle. Nevertheless, Bon Scott has taught me a lot without actually knowing that he's taught me a lot. And if he's up there and he's listening to me right now, I just want him to know that he taught me how to be carefree and live life freely and enjoy music without even knowing that he's done this. And he probably taught a million trillion other people across the world the same thing, especially if you're a huge AC/DC fan or a huge Bon Scott fan. He'll always have a massive place in my heart. And whenever I hear Angus Young's guitar playing, I just get a feeling of positive nostalgia. And then when Bon Scott's voice comes roaring in, I just get shivers all over my body. It just makes me feel good about life, and it's really, really weird to explain, but yeah, Bon Scott, I love you, bro. I love you. My friends always tell me that Bon Scott weirdly looks like my dad, like when my dad was younger, but I think it's just the hair, really, and the nose and the eyes. But yeah, kind of crazy, huh? Billie Joe Armstrong from Green Day. Hey, who saw this one coming? I'm pretty sure most of you saw this coming. You guys that know me and have been subscribed to me for a while will know that I have a massive obsession with Billie Joe from Green Day, and I always have. Billie Joe has just generally been my favourite everything since I can remember. I first heard Green Day when I was about 6 years old, and my first CD was a Green Day one. And even though my dad had played a lot of The Clash and the Sex Pistols and Stiff Little Fingers, who I also really like by the way, Green Day was the first punk rock band that I ever fell in love with, really. As soon as I saw Billie Joe with his dyed hair and his angsty attitude and his Fender Strat, I was just in love. And as weird as it sounds, I kind of just grew up fantasising about him. And I'd say not in a sexual way, but there's been a few sexual fantasies about Billie Joe Armstrong, I ain't gonna lie. But I just kind of grew up fantasising about him. It's like, I wanted to be him, I wanted to sound like him, which is physically impossible because I'm a girl, and I just wanted to get on stage and make that much noise. I really did, and he definitely inspired me to do that. My dad was sick of hearing me talk about Green Day, I'll tell you that for sure. Because my dad likes Green Day, but he's not exactly a big Green Day fan, and I really did wear out Green Day for him, so even if he did like them, which he did a little bit, I kind of ruined Green Day for him. That's all I used to play, it was just Green Day, Green Day, Green Day, Green Day. And then before you knew it, my dad would say, his voice is annoying me so much! And it was just like, I later ended up being in a band and all we actually would play is Green Day's older stuff. And when I think of Green Day, I hear songs such as like Haha, You're Dead, Desensitized, Christy Road, Redundant and Brain Stew. I'd say I'm more of a fan of their older stuff, as typical as that sounds. I still love American Idiot, you know, Jesus of Suburbia and Homecoming and all of those songs. But I'd definitely say I'm more of a, you know, a fan of their older stuff. But that's probably because, again, I relate to it so much in the sense of it reminds me of my childhood and yada yada and getting into music and all those things. It's like I remember going through a stage in high school when all I would actually talk about is Billie Joe and Green Day. And all my friends seriously hated my guts because that's all I would actually speak about. You know when there's a silence in a conversation and someone will just start another conversation by bringing up another topic? My topic would be, hey, did you know that Billie Joe did this? Or Mike Dern did that? Or Trey Cool's real name is this? And it'd just be like, shut up, Jess. Actually just shut up. We don't care. Because at the time, none of my friends were actually into Green Day. I was telling them pointless facts about a band they didn't even give a shit about. I remember one of my friends talking about how hot Johnny Depp was, and another one was talking about how hot David Beckham was, and another one was talking about how hot Cristiano Ronaldo or whatever that footballer's name is. I was just like, Billie Joe! Billie Joe! Actually die if I met Billie Joe. Honestly, I'd spontaneously combust and that would be the end of Jingleheartart forever and a day. I'm a serious fangirl. I mean, like, serious. I'm just mesmerised by Billie Joe and everything that he does. And it sounds really sad saying it out loud, doesn't it? Because he doesn't even have a clue I am. But does he? Because at the end of the day, he actually directed the crowd at Lancashire Cricket County Club or whatever when they played a few years ago. He actually told them to get me out because I'd completely fainted because I'd obviously been like... If you watch one of my earlier videos, there's a Green Day video and it's when I ended up, you know, in the neck brace halfway through the gig. Because a guy came up to me and decided to, you know, full-on wallop me in the head in the middle of a pit, and me being the dickhead I am, I fought back. And then it just ended up really badly. He disappeared, and then he must have come back later on and smacked me in the head. If you want to know more about that, just scroll through my videos and you'll eventually find it. Eventually in the abyss. Hey, dog, interrupting me. I think he kind of knows who I am, maybe, because, like, he actually directed me. Well, obviously, there's going to be a million trillion girls with pink hair out there that go to Green Day gigs, and at the time I had pink hair, but he completely directed me to the front. And it's like, I remember being floppy and half-conscious, but him precisely pointing at me, and that was probably the best moment in my life. And then a week later, I went up to Glasgow with Lewis, Dave and Carl, and we all decided to go see Green Day in Glasgow, and I'd never actually been to Scotland, so the first place I went to was Glasgow. And I love the Scottish accents, that was amazing. Scottish accents everywhere, and Green Day, best day of my life. And at that gig I remember being on the barrier, and I remember Trey Cool threw a towel at the girl next to me and she caught it, and I was absolutely devastated because I really wanted that towel. It's like when I went to see Muse and I got Dom Howard's drumstick, still got that drumstick, still gonna frame it at some point even though I've had it for like 5 years. But when you get something that belongs to someone that you admire so much, it's such a great feeling, isn't it? I'm proper fangirling right now, but you know what I mean, don't you? You understand if you know where I'm coming from. Anyway, I'm gonna shut up about Billy Joe because I could talk about Billy Joe for hours, and seriously, I could make a whole video about each individual Green Day album and each Green Day song. I know every single lyric to every single song they've created, and I'm talking way back, like when they were sweet children, and you know, I know too much. Massive Green Day fan. I'm gonna shut the fuck up now. Next. The Offspring! Okay, so The Offspring are very influential to me for many a reason too, in a similar way to Green Day, but obviously not as obsessive and yada yada. Because I'm talking about a lot of my childhood here, I feel like this is a very important thing to mention as well. Two really influential albums for me are Smash and NXA on Ombre. I hope I'm pronouncing those properly. They were my favourite albums in primary school. Yes, primary school, other than Green Day and AC/DC and Nirvana. Two very, very influential albums. I'll always remember my strong love for The Offspring growing at the same time as my love for the Spice Girls. I remember being a huge Spice Girls fan and a huge Offspring fan, and I don't think that could clash any more than it actually does. It's like, on one hand, I'd be going,
When two become one, need some love like I never need love before. Do 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 do.
yeah, that was bad. And then on the other hand, I'll be like,
Drivers are rude, such attitude. When I show my peace, complaints say something's odd. I feel like I'm God, you stupid, dumb shit, God, that motherfucker. Do 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 do. Oh, I open the glove box, reach inside, gonna wreck this fuckers right, 'cause they got bad habits. I blow it away, yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna shut up now. So yeah, it was kind of strange. It's also one of my favourite Offspring lyrics, if anyone wanted to know. Walking around the primary school singing things like that kind of gets you in trouble. I blame The Offspring for me swearing uncontrollably at a very early age and thinking I was invincible. Offspring are another reason why I gained so many male friends as opposed to female friends, because I couldn't find any girls to bond with over punk rock. So yeah. The Arctic Monkeys are also one of my favourite bands. My love for the Arctic Monkeys developed in high school, so a bit later on, and what I really liked was the fact that Alex Turner was like, you know, a lyrical genius. Alex Turner is a lyrical genius. It's like some of the things he'll say are ever so simple but ever so complicated at the same time, and it's like, you can listen to an Arctic Monkeys song and be like, hell yeah, this is really good, the riff's awesome, the drums are fucking kick-ass, but just lie back and listen to the lyrics. Seriously. He's a lyrical genius, honestly. If you're into the Arctic Monkeys, or you don't like the Arctic Monkeys but you kinda like the Arctic Monkeys and you don't, you know, I don't even know, but it'd be really cool if you could check out the soundtrack for Submarine or listen to the last Shadow Puppets. You know, if you kinda want something that's not Arctic Monkeys but Alex Turner-esque, that's some good things to listen to. My boyfriend introduced me to the film Submarine. It's a really, really good film, and the whole soundtrack is by Alex Turner, and the songs are absolutely beautiful. And if you ever want to just, you know, listen to the soundtrack, listen to the EP, close your eyes, lie down on your bed, and honestly, it's a magical experience. It's absolutely magical. He's a really clever bastard, so he's definitely on my inspirational list. I love that guy to bits. John Frusciante. John Frusciante is my favourite guitarist. If you don't know already, he's the guitarist from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. He did recently quit and get replaced by that Josh Klinghoffer guy. I'm a massive music nerd. He is one of my favourite guitarists in the whole entire world. I love his music, I love his sound, I love everything about him. I'd say that guitar-wise, I'm incredibly inspired by obviously Billy Joe and all these punk rock bands and yada yada, but I'd say on my other side of the spectrum, Angus Young, he does inspire me, but it's really strange because my love for John Frusciante is just grows and grows and grows and grows and grows, and he's just a genius. It's like, I really, really just generally love his music. I really like his solo work as well. I'd say one of the less mainstream songs I absolutely love with John Frusciante is My Smile is a Rifle. He was incredibly drugged up, as you can tell if you want to go and listen to it, but it's just beautiful. I love that song, I love the lyrics, and I relate to it so much. It's one of my favourite songs, and whenever I play it, people are like, what the hell is this? Because he's singing out of tune and yada yada, but to me, I could just hear the soul and the feeling and the pure emotion. And I feel like John Frusciante really conveys emotion really well. I feel like he puts it all into his guitar playing incredibly well, and I find a lot of music these days, a lot of bands that I've listened to, you can kind of tell that the guitarist is sat down and they're being played what they're told to play, or they're just kind of playing a riff that they think is cool. But with John Frusciante, it's like he's managed to detach his soul and his heart, bind them together and actually magically input it into his instrument. and I think that's a crazy ass awesome skill. I really like Shadows Collide with People and The Empreme. I can't even say that album title, but they're my two favourite albums by John Frusciante. He has songs which don't even make sense because he was that drugged up, but I could listen to them for hours. I appreciate the raw emotion, and a lot of the music that I write is really inspired by John Frusciante's older stuff, and it's just out of time, I could be wasted, and I feel as though it just conveys emotion really well. And I don't know if like musicians out there, if anyone's watching this video, but have you ever just got absolutely twat-faced and wrote songs and wrote music and recorded it and listened back to it and just thought, what the hell, that's so out of time and I'm off key and yada yada, but I like where I was going with that, and then you try to replicate it and it just doesn't go to plan and it's a massive fail, and then you're like, for fuck's sake. Your mind is altered when you're having one of those, you know, out-of-body experiences, or you're just generally high on life. Don't do drugs, kids. But when you're just generally, you know, in that frame of mind, if you're intoxicated, it takes you to a completely different place, doesn't it? And that's why a lot of musicians end up getting into drugs and yada yada. But you don't need to be on drugs or need to be drunk to be creative, but sometimes when you are drunk and you do create music or whatever, it's kind of like, hey, I can see where I was going with that. So I can understand John Frusciante on a level, even though I've never done heroin or any of those crazy ass drugs that he's done. But it's not even all about drugs, is it? John Frusciante is genius. His music is amazing, his lyrics are amazing, and his guitar playing he's God. Honestly, he's the god of guitar playing in my eyes. It's like, I love Angus Young to bits, and I think he's fucking amazing, and he's up there. He really is up there, but John Frusciante is slightly above him because John Frusciante is fucking awesome. I'd just love to have a conversation with that guy, I really would. So a lot of you ask him who my favourite guitarist is. There you go, John Frusciante. And I was really gutted when I finally got to go see the Red Hot Chili Peppers live because they're one of my favourite bands. And John Frusciante wasn't there. I saw Josh Klinghoffer instead. And I was just gutted because I just wanted John Frusciante to be there. And then Dave was with me and he's seen them play a million times. And he was just kind of like, oh, Jess, if only you'd witnessed John Frusciante and his amazing skills. Because Dave's also obsessed with John Frusciante. I think that's why me and Dave are friends, you know, on the sly. Our love for John Frusciante and Greg Graffin from Bad Religion it moulds into one. Just molds into one, and it brings us together. It makes us really good friends. So, considering we're speaking about Red Hot Chili Peppers, I also want to speak about my massive love for Anthony Kiedis, which is really obvious, I guess, in a way, but I just love him. He's just said many a thing that hit home for me. I'll read you a few of the quotes. Every true artist is at war with the world. I love that quote. I also believe that every true artist is also constantly at war with themselves. I could read his quotes forever and a day, so I'll just read you two more. When you start putting pen to paper, you see a side of your personal truth that doesn't otherwise reveal itself in conversation or thought. Every time you empty your vessel of that energy, fresh new energy comes flooding in. I just feel as though a lot of the things he says, I can really relate to him. I really can. At the moment I'm reading Scar Tissue, which is his autobiography, and I skim read it like a few years ago, but I never read it properly. It's like I just read the parts that I wanted to read at the time because I couldn't be bothered reading a full book. The two females that have influenced me the most in life, a lot of people are going to hate on me for this shit, okay? Courtney Love is one of them, and a lot of people hate Courtney Love, but I adore her, I love her, and I'm not going to get into the whole controversy between her and Kurt Cobain because that pisses me off to oblivion and back, and I'm not even joking, because Kurt Cobain is next on my list because I love Kurt Cobain so much, I really, really do. So the fact that I also like Courtney Love tends to cause a lot of like arguments between people because they're like, if you really loved Kurt Cobain, you wouldn't like Courtney Love, and it's just like, piss off, okay? Just piss off. I think Courtney Love, I love her vocals. She's inspired me a lot as a musician, as a singer, as a female singer. Courtney Love has the greatest balls. She has massive balls and her husky voice and everything, and she's really inspired me as a vocalist, especially my shouty side. Another vocalist, female vocalist that has inspired me a lot is Shirley Manson. I love Shirley Manson. I'm a general huge Garbage fan. I'd just say that female band-wise, I'm very into my Hole and my Garbage. They're the two, you know, female bands that I love to oblivion and back. I really do, and they've inspired me. Shirley Manson and Courtney Love are amazing. I love them. I don't know why I've stuck them both together, you know, while talking about them, but I'm kind of speeding up now, if you can tell. I've kind of got somewhere to go, so I'm kind of rushing around. Next on the list, we've got Kurt Cobain. I've been a massive Nirvana fan for years. I really, really love my grunge. Nirvana hit home for me because I feel like I was brought up with Nirvana as well. I'd say if there's two bands that I could see and I could just bring them back, it would be Nirvana and AC/DC with Bon Scott. I would die happy. Someone once came up to me and said to me, if you could bring back Kurt Cobain or Jimi Hendrix, who would you bring back? Jimi Hendrix is fucking awesome. He really is, but it would be Kurt Cobain hands down. I just feel as though the greatest musicians are taken away too early. It really annoys me as well because I feel as though I'll never ever have the opportunity to be in the presence of some of the most amazing, influential musicians in the whole entire world, and I suppose we're all in the same boat really, especially if you're a massive music nerd like me. Kurt Cobain is really inspirational to me. Songs like You Know You're Right and Aneurysm. I love them, and I've been brought up with them as well, so, you know, Kurt Cobain, you're amazing, and I miss you, and I wish you were alive so I could come be in your presence. I feel like me and Kurt Cobain also share a very similar mental level. It was rumoured and blah-de-da-de-da that Kurt Cobain was also bipolar, well, a manic depressive. Who knows? Nobody knows. I could talk about Kurt Cobain all day, but the way that he viewed a lot of things in this dark way and just the anger that he had and blah-de-da-de-da, I just feel like I relate to him on a level, and when I listen to his lyrics and when I read things about him and stuff, I think, wow, I relate to him so much and I know exactly what he's talking about and exactly how he's feeling. And I've hit those lows as well in my life where I've wanted to commit suicide, and I've tried to, and I'll openly admit those things. I really will, but at the end of the day, it's like when you hit that low, you can never understand that low until you hit it, I suppose. The next person I want to speak about is Greg Graffin from Bad Religion. Love, 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 love him. Lyrically, he's probably inspired me quite a lot too, because he inspired me to be more clever with my lyrics, like Alex Turner in a way. I'd say Greg Graffin's on a completely different level to Alex Turner because they're both completely different songwriters. So I will read you a few of his quotes. It's funny because I have a little quote book where I just write down loads of quotes. So if you ever want to know about my quote book, then let me know down below and I'll see what I can do about that. We should enjoy and make the most of life, not because we are in constant fear of what might happen to us in a mythical afterlife, but because we have only one opportunity to live. I really love that quote. I love the way that he questions everything, and if you listen to Bad Religion lyrics, Bad Religion are one of my favourite bands as well. They're amazing live, by the way. If you ever get the chance to go see Bad Religion, do it. Seriously. The energy is amazing. I love the way he questions things in his lyrics and stuff. Last person on my list that I would like to talk about, very briefly because I need to go in like 5 minutes time, John Lennon. John Lennon is very, 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 very interesting on a crazy amount of levels. I love the Beatles. My favourite Beatles song is Strawberry Fields Forever. I just love John Lennon, to be honest, I really do. He was my favourite Beatle. I don't want to sound really stereotypical when I speak about John Lennon because obviously he's inspired millions and millions of people worldwide. I just want to touch on a few of the things that he said that have really inspired me in my life and influenced me. Life is what happens while you are busy making other plans. And I really do believe in that as well, because I find that some of the most amazing things that have happened to me have been when I have cancelled a plan. All these little things that happen, all these little kind of like, you know, things that throw you off the path that you're supposed to be on. And just generally, that is another thing that I believe in greatly. Love is the answer, and you know that for sure. Love is a flower, you've got to let it grow. You don't need anybody to tell you who you are or what you are what you are. So yeah, obviously there's like a million trillion other John Lennon quotes, but they were just a few that I wanted to touch on. Really hope that this isn't going to be too long of a video, and I know I've gone over 10 people, but fuck it. So I hope you're all having a wonderful day. Yay! Bye!